this time. Bhagavad Gita.
Gita was for a reason. I
Yeah.
will do that today
Yes.
also for a bit.
The Asuri Sampatti and Devi Sampatti. I
Yes,
was
yes.
listening to that. Yeah.
Daivi Sampat and Asuri Sampat.
Hmm.
As I had said, it originated out of two questions. I will do that today as well. Was for a reason. I will. Yeah. Okay. अस्तु प्रारम्भं करिष्यामः. गौरी महोदय सुस्वागतम् पुनः.
नमस्कारः महोदय।
नमस्कारः. अस्तु. ॐ शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये दोर्भियुक्ता चतुर्भुजस्फटिकमणिमयीम् अक्षमालां दधाना हस्तेनैकेन पद्मं सितमपि च शुकं पुस्तकं चापरेण भासा कुन्देन्दुशङ्खस्फटिकमणिनिभा भासमाना समाना सा मे वाग्देवतेयं निवसतु वदने सर्वदा सुप्रसन्ना कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं वाल्मीकेर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानादं को न याति पराङ्गतिं गोष्पदीकृतवाराशिं मशकीकृतराक्षसं रामायणमहामाला रत्नं वन्दे नीलात्मजम् यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकं वैदेही सहितं सुरद्रुमतले हैमे महामण्टपे मध्ये पुष्पकमासने मणिमये वीरासने संस्थितम् अग्रे वाचेति प्रभञ्जनसुते तत्त्वं मुनिभ्यः परं व्याख्यान्तं भरतादिभिः परिवृतं रामं भजे श्यामलम् नमोऽस्तु रामाय सलक्ष्मणाय देव्यै च तस्यै जनकात्मजायै नमोऽस्तु रुद्रेन्द्रयमानिलेभ्यः नमोऽस्तु चन्द्रार्कमरुद्गणेभ्यः हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः सर्वेभ्यः सुस्वागतम् सो गतसप्ताहे किञ्चित् विषयाः दृष्टवन्तः किं दृष्टवन्तः असुराः के दैवाः के इति दैवी सम्पत्तयः कानि अपि तु आसुरी सम्पत्तयः के what is it that defines an asura and what is it that defines a daivi sampat? That is very important. And as I had elaborated last week also, it came from a couple of questions that came about in this class itself. Okay, 1 minute. I think I have not started recording this. Okay. Where is record of this computer? Okay. So, couple of things. One was that, question very often asked question, after all, Janasthana was all about Ravana's place and it was all by Ravana's people. So what right did Rama have to go about killing so many Rakshasas? And very genuine question. 14,000 Rakshasas is what he killed. We saw that. So why go about doing that? One question. Second question, I think Gauri Mahodaya also had it at some point, which was like, after all, it was in the Mahabharata, it was Dhritarashtra's lineage. So what was wrong in, having them being the rulers and them not being why fight for the land? Is it about the land? So the quintessential question that people are here asking is not who is ruling. It's about the if you take a step back, more fundamental question is this war all about land? Is this war all about dominance? Right? At some point we are asking that question. So let's ask that question and let's see why was this whole thing happening. Okay, to understand that, we had to sort of understand uh, uh, two characteristics. As I said, there is one set which are like habits, are actions, are consistent actions leading to habits. Then there is a set of attitudes that lead to character. Right? Now, habits can be changed over time based on repeatedly changing things. Attitudes, on the other hand, are set in a lot of ways. And there are certain preconceived things that we get right from the point we are born. Probably in some sense, we get this from our parents, our lineage, where we are born, how we get it, etc., etc., etc. So one is a factor of karma. The other is a factor of gunas, which is also in some sense a factor of karma. In some sense, some distantly related to karma. Okay. It was under these circumstances we wanted to bucket what are these with people with Daivi Sampat, who are these people with Asuri Sampat, and what do our Shastras say about these people with Daivi Sampat, and what does our Shastra say to do with people with this Asuri Sampat. Once we have this clarity, then it becomes straightforward to move for. It becomes sort of clear for us to look at certain perspectives in the Indian literature. In all our scriptures, this plays out way over everything. Okay, so why do we need to do this? Is what I was trying to bring in last week. Because going forward, we will be introducing the concept of Ravana. Now, I want to use a very clear term. It's a concept. It is not just a person, per se. The concept of Ravana, the concept of, Vali and Sugriva. All these are some levels of concepts, right? So, why is it mandated that certain forces need to be eliminated? Or why is it mandated that certain forces need to be dealt with in certain ways? Clear questions to be asked. Right. So that is why I brought in that whole thing. So let's start recapping what we had last week. Where were we? Let me go to, yeah. Let's just recap for 5 minutes and then move forward with this. Right. So I said, okay. I said there are two parts. One is called the Daivi Sampat and another one is the Asuri Sampat. So this is from Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is probably Krishna's Vakyas and it's basically Vedanta. That is what is very important. For us, that's a very important aspect to draw all inspiration. You can draw pretty much every inspiration that you want from Bhagavad Gita. Dvau bhuta sargo loke asmin. Daiva asura evacha. Daivo vistarashah proktah asuram partha meshrunu. So there are two parts in this loka. One is Daivi and one is Asura. Right? So between these, what are the differences? Just take a look. So in this, for 3 shlokas, he finishes of all the Daivi Sampat. These 3 shlokas actually give about 26 qualities of Daivi Sampat. Basically, it's fearlessness, purity of heart, steadfastness, alms, giving alms, dana, in control of senses. So there is Shraddhaya Deyam, Ashraddhaya Deyam, Shriya Deyam, Bhiya Deyam, Riya Deyam. All these is part of dana. How do you need to give alms? Swadhyaya, Tapaha, straightforwardness, Ahimsa. When it is Ahimsa, it is about, Ahimsa is internal as well as external. You can't hurt yourself also. That is also Ahimsa. If somebody is hurting you, letting them hurt you is also not Ahimsa. That is still Himsa on you. So it has both the components. So we need to be very clear how we are defining this. Satyam, Akrodaha. See, it is very important. It is not krodha rahita. It is akrodaha is how it is used. Okay. So absence of anger in the normal course of things. Tyagaha, Shanti, and not backbiting or slandering behind somebody's back. Okay. Not covetousness, then gentleness, modesty, unwavering or unfickle mindedness, radiating, forgiving, fortitude, purity, non hating, absence of pride. If you look at it, all these are characteristics, attitudinal characteristics. These are not blindly got by just practicing. Right? Is there any character that you think will come out just in and these need to be showcased consistently over time. It is not once I do this, then I don't do it. That takes care of this fickle-minded problem, you know. So that depends. That requires a lot of attitudinal this one. Okay, this is the Daivi Sampat. If you look at the Asuri Sampat, in fact, this whole chapter has, I think, 24 shlokas. Okay, in this, 3 shlokas are about Daivi Sampat, and then you have Rakshasas defined first. That is, anger predominates their behavior, and Asusu Ramante the Asuraha, desire. That is, Rinam Krutva Ghritam Pibet kind of attitude. That is basically, no matter what, I need to get that. By hook or by crook, whatever I need to get it. They are the Asuras, Rakshasas. Okay? Don't care about anything else, pain, loss. This body is given to me for a set of reasons for me to enjoy myself in this world, and I will go about doing that. That is how asuras are defined. Okay. And from the 4th shloka all the way up to, I think, the 20th shloka, it's all about Asuri Sampat. So what are all the characteristics of Asuras? Okay. Hypocrisy, arrogance, self-conceit, rage, harshness, ignorance, unclean. Unclean is not just physical uncleanliness. It's about internal cleanliness as well. Your thoughts. What are the kind of thoughts emanating? World exists due to lust without any supreme force, and whatever I say is the end all and be all of things. Insatiable lust, hypocrisy, pride, arrogance, evil, impure resolves. I will do something that is not in the hita of dharma, and I'll take that resolve to make sure I am doing that. Okay. Then Asha Pasha bound by 100 ropes of desires. Okay, accumulating hordes of wealth. Then all that is gained will always be mine. To think that itself is a characteristic, that I can never lose anything. Can always gain it in future also. Then this is the most important thing. Ishwaroham. We discussed this last week as well. I am the Ishvara, so everybody should worship me. Everybody is my servant. Okay. It is my servant. That is the kind of attitude that you can have. And I am the enjoyer. Siddha, whatever I know is the ultimate. There is nothing beyond this. So, okay. Happiness. I am rich. And then who can ever match me? Who is there to match me? So if you look at it, it's an extreme level of ego bound with getting powers and powers and powers and powers within yourself to reach that highest level, whatever it is that is to be reached. Okay. So these are the Asuri Sampat and there is the Daivi Sampat. Both of this, and these two are distinctly different. Okay. A lot of these, for instance, let's go to this. Fearlessness, steadfastness, then strength. You can be non-fickle and you can be This one only from only if you are strong, mentally, physically, in all forms. Right? You can forgive only when you are in a position of forgiving. Forgiving is not when someone just slaps you and say, that person is strong enough to slap you, you get beaten up, and then you say, oh, I forgive you because I can't beat you. No, that is bullying, that you can't help. That is not something that you can do. If you are mentally strong enough, you are able to stand up, yet you are forgiving at that point, that is forgiving. Okay, so all these things also require a lot of strength. Whereas this Asari Bhava also requires strength. The way that strength is used is what, or it manifests through your character is what determines whether it's a Daivi Sampat or an Asuri Sampat. Okay. So this is something that I wanted to clarify. Yes, Jaita Mahodaya, you have a question.
Yes, Mahodaya. So, when you say that attitudes, some of them you call them as attitudes. So what I was thinking is like, like in yoga, they say that samskaras, which are existent in the mind, they remain dormant and then they become manifest
Correct.
based on certain
Correct.
conditions around you. And which is again, I guess, based on previous karma and all that sanchita karma, etc.,
Correct.
etc. That is
Correct.
what is causing the attitudes, right? These whether it's sattvic attitudes or asuri attitudes, or you can call that, if you're calling them attitudes, then.
Yeah, okay. Let me. Yes, you're right. So there are two things. One is, as Krishna would put it in the 4th chapter, Chaturvarnyam Maya Sritam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. It is a function of guna and karma. Prarabdha karma in that case. What prarabdha you bring, based on that you choose the family that you are going to be born in some sense. Now that guna comes because of that family there, that lineage. In some sense, a genetic mapping. So you inherit some attitudes. Whether you like it or not, you have inherited some attitude. And these will manifest given a situation. Correct? And how you behave in that situation is what showcases your character. So what yoga says is exactly the same thing. Only thing it says is, you can change these provided you are in a yogic lifestyle. Correct? And Krishna explicitly tells that in the 6th chapter. Shanai Shanai Ruparamit Managritva, something it goes on. You have to do it slow and steady. So, Achalam, this is what is that? Chanchalam me Manak Krishna is what Arjuna asks. And Krishna says, Asamshayam Mahabhava, I completely agree with you. It is very fickle. I'll just show you what fickle mindedness can do to us. Do to somebody like Sita Mata, let alone us. Right? So, what that can do is something that's very important. And this can be changed by slowly training your mind over a period of time. And given that situation comes up, then how you react that is free will again. Now it could be, are you letting your natural instinct to react? It will be your natural instinct, that it will be your natural character that the Prakriti will react. But the Prakriti that you have trained over time will matter a lot. That's what comes out as character. So it's not a one lifetime thing. So these Asuri and Daivi Sampat are not one lifetime things, very clearly. Okay. So that's why, and after this, what Krishna says here, does it clarify, Jaita Mahodaya?
Yes, Mahodaya, yes. I was thinking along the same lines only, but it's reassuring to hear you say.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And what do you do with people with Asuri Sampat? This is the Adesha. This is Krishna's words. What he says, what needs to be done with these people with Asuri Sampat. Tanaham dvishita kruran samsareshu naradhaman क्षिपामि अजस्रम अशुभान आसुरीषु अवयोनिषु. I'll put them in the wombs of asuras if they have these sampat. if they practice things like these over a period of time. So that's why it's very important to constantly build your habits. So habits is what later leads to your karmas. And over a period of time, that is what decides what you are doing. Right? Sometimes you say it's okay, once I'll do this. But that once if it gets repeating, it gets quite nasty. Okay, and I will throw them in the Asuri Yoni. Yoni is basically the womb from where we are all born, the path through which we are born. So we get all these questions as to, okay, Ravana was born to, you say it is a patriarchal thing, so it is all coming from somewhere, and then you say he is a Rakshasa. Yes, very much he is the son of Pulasta, no doubt. But he is also the son of a mother who was a Rakshasi. So he is a Brahma Rakshasa. Okay. So there is no two doubts about it. That's how it comes up. Okay. So it is
But
very, very clear.
leadership Prahalada has born with the Daivi Sampat.
Yes, coming to that. I am just coming to that. I was just about to come to that. Good point. So, yes, Daitya Nam Prahaladosmi. That's a very clear this one. I'll just come to that point in a minute.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes. There are many like that. We'll come to Bali also. We'll discuss Bali as well. Who is the great grandson of Prahalada? Right. So there are characters, there are people. So Ravana, let's just start with Ravana to begin with. So it comes with that, and he practiced it over and over again. He could have taken the Brahmana Marga. He could have trained himself on the different route. But he chose a different path because his mother, he had a lot of influence from his mother. He chose that path and came through this. Okay. Having said that, are there no Daityas with Daivi Sampat? Okay, before we get there, if you look at this, these are all inherent characteristics of the Shakti, not the Purusha. That's why you have Daivi Sampat and Asuri Sampat. Characteristics, mind, anything related to that is the subtle things in our body and which is not the gross form are usually that of the Daivi. That is basically the Shakti, the manifestation of Shakti. Shakti can exist in all forms and shapes. So that's our philosophy. That's very clearly coming out. And in all these things, it comes out as, that's why there is a Daivi Bhava, there is an Asuri Bhava. Okay? And that is why you will see Ravana manifesting the way he did. It is not the mother. Please don't get it as the physical feminine character. No, it's the Shakti. Shakti can come through both. Shakti is there in both male and the female. It's not the gross physical body that I'm talking about, but it's the Shakti that comes through. Okay, so that is where Ravana is a challenge. But as Nagaprabha Mahodaya pointed out, is Daivi Bhava not seen in the Daityas? Prahalada is a good example. So if you ask Krishna, when he says, I am all pervading, I am present everywhere, I am everything. So then in Vibhuti Yoga, he says, okay, tell me what are the examples? Where can I see you in all these phases? Then he starts a list. Vrikshanam, Ashwattoham, then Dharma Viruddho, no, it's in 7th chapter. Dharma Viruddho Bhusharishu, Kamosmi Vratashipa. In 7th chapter, he says, if it is not opposing Dharma, then I am that Kama, I am the Purushartha called Kama, that desire. Okay, so there is nothing wrong in having. So ours is not a religion of sins. We are not products of sin. We are product of very divine. We are very divine by ourselves. Okay, so that is why he says, if it is well within the framework of Dharma, then I am that desire. Go ahead. That, what is that? Kama Dukkha. That's what he says in 3rd chapter. But in 10th chapter, it says, Daityanam Prahalladosmi. I am the Prahallada in Daityas. In Daityas also I am present. It is not that I am not there. Okay. Just give me 1 minute. Sorry about that. So then the same thing happens with Prahalada's great grandson Bali. He was also having a great Daivi Bhava. It is not that he didn't have Daivi Bhava. But at the end of it, he couldn't continue. He could not be let to continue because it would lead to a lot of. He did not have the control that Prahalada had over everything else. So there was a reason why Vamana Avtara came in and then he had to be taken out. And all these can be bhaktas, and there is no problem with them being bhaktas. Ravana was a Shiva bhakta. But the bhakti there was not because he wanted to show his grace to Shiva or anything, but to gain those powers. There's a huge difference between being a bhakta and not and as a surrender to the Lord versus to doing an artharthi transaction. That's a bhakta, that's okay. But still you are doing it with an asuri bhava to destroy the world. Okay. So what is to be done with these people? Yetam drishtim avashtabhya nashtatmanolpa buddhayah prabhavantyugra karmanah kshayaya jagato hitah. Kshayaya, for jagatasya jagatah hitaya, kshayaya, destroy them for the sake of good world. This is the message that is being given out by Krishna here. Yes, Gauri Mahodaya.
Mahodaya, when you say your behavior, your attitude, your gunas or characters, whatever you put, it's all from previous karma or part of your karma. In during a particular situation, how you act cannot be free will, no, Mahodaya. Is my understanding wrong? Because you're going to act according to a particular set of rules, but that's not free will. That's right. Like it's a compressed situation where you will be acting like this. It's very hard for us to go out of that box, right?
So here is the answer that exactly same question. Arjuna asked this question, 6th chapter. What is that? He said, why is it in certain situations I feel like I'm forced to act in a particular way? There is no pulling me out of it. So Krishna gives a very good answer. He says it is not that you don't have the option to not act differently. You do have it, but there is a driving force behind that. What is the driving force? Kama yesha, krodha yesha, rajoguna samudbhavaha. There is a level of rajoguna in all of us. Do you all agree? This rajoguna determines the kind of desire that we have. We all have absolute free will, no doubt. Let us say in a given situation, we need to act. Okay. That action can be chosen devoid of all desires and all sorts of anger and all that so-called unbiasedness. We have that option. It is not that we don't have that option, but then we are bound by certain things. I'll give a very simple example. And see, for instance, in Mahabharata itself. Let's not. I'll give that later, perhaps. Let us say in a situation you know that you're acting in. You need to act in a particular way. That is basically, let's say, for instance, somebody has scolded the child in the school. Okay. Now you need, what is the thing that is there at the back of your mind? You have a doubt about the child. Then you also have a doubt about whether, because most of us trust the teachers, we think that the teacher is right. Now we are not in an absolutely clear position to go about asking, is something that happened really right, or is it something that is really not right? And we want to act in the interest of the child because we don't want the child to be spoiled. There is that desire that the child should not be spoiled. That is driving us in a lot of ways to, before even questioning and looking at whether the child has said something right or wrong, or making that assessment, we make it a call to say, probably you should not act this way. We get to that conclusion very fast. Suppose we break it down in a different way. There is an option. Every single situation, if you assess, there will be an action. Just that we are bound by a little bit of too much time constraint and that desire to get there. Okay. So this is a challenge. That is a challenge. But that free will definitely exists. It is not that the free will does not exist. Free will to act or not act does not exist. It always exists, sorry. As human beings, that always exists with us. Okay. So yes, Parvati Mahodaya, you had something?
Yeah, off tangent it was. So who decides who are the asuras and who decides what's right, what's wrong, what has to be destroyed?
So
like
these
if
are
I take, the qualities. Okay, like I feel that the Muslim, the terrorists, they think all those who don't believe in Allah are wrong, so they should be gotten rid of. Yeah. So for them.
So yeah, you are right. So there are certain things that can be classified as asuric forces here. Yeah. See, what happens is, I am the only one. That comes as a asuric bhava there. So I wouldn't know whether, because I'm not very competent to comment on that religion. But having said that, whatever little I know, yes, it can be classified in a lot of ways in that sense.
No, I think they do that because they believe they are right, they're good, they have to destroy evil.
Yeah, exactly, right. So it's a destructive path, altogether a destructive path.
But even here, Krishna tells us to get rid of asuras, right? Rama killed all the asuras.
That is the Adesha, yes. So we'll have to leave it at that.
No, sometimes it's confusing because what you think is right and you just want to achieve it. So who decides
blindly
what is right?
It. Blindly achieve it. Yeah, that is what it is.
How do you decide what is right, what is wrong? Because one person's right is another person's wrong.
Not quite. Not always. There is okay, I'll come to that. I'll answer that question in a different way. Hold on to that. Hold on to that thought, by the way. Just hang into that. Yeah.
Mahodaya, I just wanted to ask though, Gauri Mahodaya's question, but end of the day, what she said, like the fact that if you are bound by anything, no matter whatever it is you're bound by, then definitely your reaction is being tempered by something which is, so then where is the free will? I mean, yes, you can choose, but if your choice is being tempered by your attitudes, then is it really free will?
It is.
I mean, it is being determined by so many other things within you which are outside your control.
Yes.
Then where is the freedom?
That is where you need to practice yoga and then change that attitude.
So the Shanai.
By the grace of any guru only, they can learn some techniques to remove the by meditation or by some counseling.
Lots of things, lots of ways are there. It is not that it cannot be done. Just that attitude need to change over time. That needs to happen.
Mahodaya, but then every human being in a day goes through all the three gunas.
Yes.
So at that point of time, if the person is influenced by the rajo guna then the reaction would be different, and if it is a sattvic guna, the reaction would be different, right?
Absolutely.
So then the free will is actually dependent on the gunas and not by the person in or the I.
No. Free will is absolute, but your decision whether to make use of that free will or let your gunas and attitudes interfere with it is the binding factor.
Then the free will is what? Then what is free will? I mean, how do you define free will then? Because when anything which is governed in our anything which is projected by our mind is because of the gunas, then that becomes the free will, right? Or that is how you be. That becomes
not always. You have your buddhi also allows you to overrule your mind. Correct?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Simple example. Three kids are playing on the bank, throwing stones in the river. Fourth kid is also tempted to do it. Now, whether the fourth kid chooses to do it or not is the free will. Whether that itself is free will.
Yes. It could be his temperament. He doesn't enjoy doing that.
He joins, he does not join, he just observes, he does not observe, he walks out. All these are possibilities. I can give a list of 100 things that can be done in a given situation.
Mahodaya, I just feel that instead of free will, I mean, as Hindus, I mean, consciousness of what is dharmic behavior, what is dharma in that situation, what should I
hold
do?
on. Before we get to Chaita Mahodaya, hold on. Yeah. Before we get to dharma and adharma, free will also gives you the choice to decide to go on the dharmic route or the adharmic route. Please note that.
So the free will actually means whether we are taking the dharmic or the adharmic route.
It just lets you choose whatever you want to choose. Whether it could be dharmic, it could be adharmic, it could be right, it could be wrong. There are 100 ways to act in a given situation, right? You are choosing one of them based on certain constraints that you are imposing on this, your attitude, karma, whatever it is. But the option to choose those 100 is still with you. Unlike, let us say, for instance, a dog. It is driven by instincts. There is a set pattern of how it will behave in a given situation, no matter what. If it is hungry, it is going to go and kill something and eat. Simple. Right? If it feels sleepy, it will sleep. As human beings, we are endowed with this one to say, I will take this option of sleeping, not sleeping, watching TV, not watching TV, working somewhere, not working somewhere. We are endowed with that free will. Now, what is dharma? Dharma is the second question. Is a second order problem to solve. The free will is not dependent on whether you are doing dharma or you are doing adharma. The free will is given to you so that you follow the path of dharma, move towards moksha, so on and so forth. That is the purpose of it. But that purpose, whether it is being served or not, is a second order problem itself.
And so then, does this karmas actually influence your free will?
Karmas do not influence your free will, but your karmas binds the way you think, which indirectly influences what you are probably going to do. I'll use that word very carefully, probably. See, if you have certain things, there are times when we have all been, probably would have taken a decision which you are at some point held back for some reason. We've all seen that. We've all experienced these things. That could be possibly because of some punya, something that we have done somewhere, and we have just been saved at the brink of some disaster. Correct?
So even though it is influenced, the free will can actually change your attitude to do
change your attitude, definitely. Taking a path can definitely change the way you do things.
Mahodaya, what is the word for this free will in Sanskritam?
Free will is there, no? What is
that? Huh? Is it Swadharma? No.
No, not Swadharma, not Swadharma. It is, I'll just I'll tell you, Jaita Modi. I'm just not recollecting. Huh?
Swatantra?
Swatantra. It is something to do with Swatantra. I'll just get you the right technical term there. It is there. A little more than that, Fran Mahodaya. Yes, Nisha Mahodaya, tell me.
Antaratma.
No, I don't think that is the term. Let's see. Nisha Mahodaya? Yeah. Nisha Mahodaya?
Yeah, yes, one. Yeah. I just wanted to add on to the discussion a little bit. So for I mean, just going with this free will, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. So whenever we are faced with a situation, I feel it is in our, I mean, we can take two paths, or we talk to our inner voice, should I do this or that? So I think it is that which we decide if we take take the positive this thing, we are influencing our attitude positively. And if I take the negative or the not so good one path, that I'm being driven by my samskaras. So I would like to take it like that. So for example, maybe watching a movie, but versus going for a lecture. So that is my free will. I could utilize the time in a positive way, or I could just sit and entertain myself. So
Yes.
I mean that's
Yes.
the choice that we need. I mean I need to make. So there the free will is active. So if and also like suppose I want to improve some behavior. So first of all, if I'm able to identify that this attitude of mine is not correct and I need to change it, that is also happens only because of free will, I guess. Or
Yes.
I'm understanding like that.
Yes,
So
absolutely right. Absolutely right. That's how it will be.
just wanted to, I mean, add on. Maybe it will help.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it goes both ways. So as you rightly said, it's about, free will is about taking, I want to go to I have the options. I have three options. One is probably easy. One is probably difficult. One is probably right. So what do I do? One of these options, what do I take? The very simple reason that, we're all sitting here and doing this satsanga, as Professor Mahadevan always tells us, we're all sitting here and doing this. There is something that we have said, okay, there is something that probably will get out of this. Otherwise, there are 100 things that all of us can do. There are 100 things that all of us have and pressing on us. Right? Similarly, we can, at a different point in time, we can choose when we have an option of doing something good. We can say, no, I'm going to just loiter around my time and waste away my energies. That's also something that we all do. Right? So all these things are possible, and that making that decision itself is free will in a lot of ways. Yes, Parvati Madhavan. Your Mukamasti, Dhani Mudrika Mukamasti.
Sorry, Shamita. So basically, the person should have the basic intelligence or whatever to decide what is right, what is wrong, what's good, what is bad, what is dharmic, what is adharmic. But if my gunas don't give me that, for want of a better word, that intelligence, then I'm like at a disadvantage.
Not quite. This again is very deeply discussed in our Vedantic discussion. Everybody is at some point pointed towards that right path. It could be through a guru, it could be through a parent, it could be through somebody. You will always find at every lifetime, every point, you are definitely pointed. That is very much prodded and pointed, that very clearly comes out through.
So there's hope for all of us.
Hey, there is hope for everyone. In fact, there's a beautiful story. There's a very beautiful story. In fact, there is this two people are there sitting. One is doing lot of swadhyaya, tapas. Is into deep meditation and deep. This one is very much going on. Then the other fellow is just playing around, fooling around, and doing nothing, good for nothing. Character doing nothing else. Not even Daivi, we wouldn't classify any of the Daivi or Asuri Sampat, but they are just wasting their time. One is wasting his time, the other one is very religiously following everything that is ordained for him. Then Narada Muni comes by. And so he asks, he sees both of them. So he asks the fellow who is doing so much of this one, and he asks him, do you want anything? He says, yes, please ask. Please, I'm going to Vaikuntha. Please ask me. Please let me know if you need anything. So he says, yes. Can you tell me when I'll get moksha? This is the question that fellow who is actually doing so much tapas and everything asking. So Narada, out of compassion, he just says, okay, fine, let me ask this fellow also. Is anyway not asking anything? So he says, okay, you ask the same question for me also. This is the answer he gives him. It tells Narada, you ask the same question about me as well and come back. Let us see. So anyway, he's goofing around. He's not very interested in anything. So the other fellow is very serious in his tapas and everything. So after a while, Narada comes back. and says, okay, I found the answers to both your questions. Do you want to know it? So the first fellow is very curious, who is doing so much of tapas, he's been so much into all this, and he says, so Narada says, next 7 janmas, after 7th janma, you'll get moksha. He is totally wrecked out of it, disappointed, totally disappointed. 7 janmas, I've worked so much, 7 more janmas I have to go through, and he profusely crying. Narada does not know how to console him. He's just going on and on and on. So that fellow, the other fellow is not even bothered, he is totally off. So both of them are, by the way, sitting below the people tree. That is Ashwath Vraksha. Okay. So Narada asks, do you also want to know your answer? Oh, okay, now that you are here, tell me what is that. That's the answer, he says. So he says, yes, you will get it in the number of birds, after the number of birds, as many leaves on this tree. So it's an Ashwatha Vraksha. You can imagine the leaves on that tree. How many leaves are there? Hundreds of thousands of whatever leaves. So this fellow is overjoyed. He is jumping around and saying, wow, it's a great achievement for him. So this is a little confusing. So Narada asks, what's happening? It should have been the other way around. So he says, no, I am overjoyed because I also, there is hope for a person like me also. You mean to say I can also get moksha? Right. So see, that whole level of happiness, sukha, dukkha, and all these things are not external. These are all the way we process things. Okay.
Attitude.
So that we need to be very aware of. Yes, Parvati Madhya.
In life, sometimes you come across so many situations where you don't know what is the right thing to do, if it's right or
we'll come to that. We'll come to that. We'll come to that.
Okay.
Hold on to that thought. My next slide is about that. Okay. So Asuri Yonima Apanna Mudha Janmani. It goes on. The cycle of Asuri keeps on repeating. That's what he says here. Then Trividam Narakas Yedam Dwaram Nashan Mahatmanaha Kamaha Krodaha Tatha Lobaha. These are the 3 things. These are the 3 things that will give you these attitudes. What we discussed as Asuri Sampat. These n number of attitudes that we discussed, these are originating out of these 3. Kamaha, here Kamaha has to be taken, that is Dharma Viruddha Kama, which is Dharma, which is Viruddha of Dharma, which is Adharma. Adharmik Kama, I'll get it no matter what. Krodha originating out of it, Lobha, greed. These 3 are the 3 short Naraka paths. That's what Naraka here refers to, something that is, a downtrodden Asuri path. Okay, that is what he says. That's why Tasmat ye tat trayam tyajet. Give up these 3. Give up Lobha. First thing, give up Lobha. That is basically give up that jealousy. Somebody else has it. I should also have it. Give up that. 99% of our problems are solved the moment we stop comparing ourselves with something else. That fellow has it. And that's where Semitic religions have this problem, Parvati Mohaya, as you raised the point. Somebody else has it. How can it not be with me? I better have that. That is where their whole religion originates and revolves around. And that's where they get a lot of these Asuri characteristics of them. Okay. So it is both. It is not just one. It's even Christianity has a lot of these characteristics that come. So both of them are, 2 sides of the same coin. They are not very different from each other. So I think that's where it should be, and that's where it should be taken. We should very clearly call them out for that. So there is no harm in calling them out. At least let's see if they want to improve. That's their choice. So otherwise, they're on their path of destruction. So we can't help if people want to be on their path of destruction. Okay. So this is what it says. Now, let me answer Parvati a few other questions that came. What is dharma and what is adharma? Now, to achieve anything, there is what is called a cause and an effect. Correct? Or in simple terms, means and an end. Correct? And we always hear this. end justifies the means. Correct? So let us see what happens. I just brought this to Tasmat Chatra. This is very important. Tasmat Shastram Pramanante Karya Vyavasthito Gyatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartum Harhasi. So basically, know your Shastras and Pramana. This is what gives you the idea of Dharma. What is Karya and Akarya? This is the Vyavastha that is put out. यशास्त्र विधिमुत्सृज्य वर्तते कामकारतः न स सिद्धिमवाप्नोति न सुखम न परां गतिम्. One who goes by the Shastra, then he is going to be all right. Okay. Siddhim avapnoti. Tasmat Shastram Pramanam te Karyat. Akarya Vyavasthito. What is Karya? Akarya? Know that. Okay. Another thing, tamodvara is tribhirnaraha. Be away from the tamodvara. Knowing this, do your work. This is the question that he puts up. Okay. So next comes the question of ends justifying the means. Should I do the means right? Should I leave the ends right? What is that question? What is that quintessential thing that we should do? So what I did, I just put it out in a good, nice this sort of format. Is this visible to everyone? Okay. So let's take, okay, I come from a bit of this one. So let me explain to those of you who don't have this. This is an axis. This is the y-axis. This is the x-axis. Okay. So your ends are dependent on the means that you take. Correct? It's always dependent on the means that we take. So there could be an absolute wrong. If we define something as an absolute wrong, whether it's the ends or the means, and that's where these two meet, then you have a means axis and there's an absolute right way of doing something. And there's an absolute right end that you want to achieve. Correct? An ideal situation in this is taking the absolute right means and doing the absolute right and meeting the absolute right ends. Correct? Now, please note, this is not a discrete function. Okay. This is a continuous, this is a spectrum. Basically, there is something called absolute wrong and there is something called absolute right. And everything in between is you know, some fraction of right, some fraction of wrong. We come across these things. This day in and day out, we are faced with these challenges, you know, that come about it. Similarly with ends, some are absolutely wrong, some are somewhere in between, right, wrong, you know, these are the choices that we end up getting. Correct. So we all know these are, this is the perfect thing to do. This is the perfectly wrong thing to do. We should never get into this. Now, there are two other problems. That is, you have the right, end is right, but the means are wrong in some ways. Okay, the whole of Mahabharata work can be put it this way. So let's now just ask this question. You know, that's where Gauri Mahodaya's question comes back. You know, was the Mahabharata war about land, about getting about establishing supremacy over the land? Frankly, it was not. It was about Draupadi had to be, Draupadi's Vastraharana, Draupadi's, she was, whatever she was, the humiliation had to be avenged. Her husbands did not do that, which they had to do. Similarly, in Ramayana, it was not about the land, it was not about who was doing, it was Sita Apaharana which had to be avenged, which had to be taken back. We'll see that with Vali Vada also in due course. So in those cases, what happens is there are certain wrong means that need to be taken. This is what Krishna did in the war. Okay, he took a lot of these things. A lot of these things will lead you in this quadrant, in this quadrangle. Here, there is another thing that can happen. Means are absolutely right, but the ends are totally useless, are totally wrong, in fact. I'll give you an example. This is the example I wanted to give you earlier. So, in the same Mahabharata, how many times is, by the way, how many times was Draupadi humiliated? Any idea? We all know the story of Vastraharana. Okay, then any other times?
Being forced to marry 5 guys?
Huh?
Palace. No,
Huh?
in one palace they were 1 year Agnatavasa was there that time.
Kichaka.
Kichaka, yeah.
Okay, that is one. Okay, other one. Any other? Parvati Mode was saying something.
I lost the thread.
Huh?
Oh, when she was forced to marry 5 people.
No,
Think that's
that.
wrong.
No. She did not marry 5. She married Arjuna, and then when she came back, she accepted the other 5 because that was a common this one that the Yudhishthira had to come. She accepted. That was not her problem. She did not have any problem with accepting those 5.
I'm sorry, and I don't know the story about Kichaka.
Mahodaya, the Jayadratha episode also was a
Jayadratha, correct. So totally she was humiliated twice. Okay. So first, even before the Kichaka Vada happened, it was Jayadratha. Jayadratha, anybody knows who Jayadratha was?
Husband of Dushala.
Yes, her husband of Suvala, Dushala, whatever you want to call her. So, basically sister of Kauravas. So, Jayadratha tries to molest her, tries to take her away and rape her and all those things. At that point, this is in Vanvasa, by the way. This is not in Agyatavasa also. This is in Vanvasa when they are in the forest. So, Bhima gets to know this. He chases them down, takes Jayadratha, ties him up, brings him and puts him in front of Yudhishthira. Look, this is what they are doing to our wife. This cannot happen. He better be killed. He wants to kill him then and there. You know the answer Yudhishthira gives? This will irritate our sister Dushala, so we shall not do this. Okay? And in the end, the whole Mahabharata, yes, we all know how Jayadratha got killed. Before that, how he killed Abhimanyu and what the kind of blow up that this led to. That is a case of right means absolute wrong ends. Somebody's wife is kidnapped. You can't say that no, I will let that happen just because he's somewhere and all those things. No, that doesn't happen. The other one is Kichaka Vada. This time Bhima said, no, I will not even go to Yudhishthira. If I go there, he's going to douse the fire. Let me go kill him and come back. So he went in the night and he just finished off the Kichaka, and this is in the Agyatavasa.
That's why as husbands, out of all the 5, Bhima was the most honorable husband, right? Out of all of them.
Yeah. No, in fact, in the whole of Mahabharata, there are 3 characters who stand out. 3 characters who stand out are one is Krishna, of course. Krishna is the epitome of all this one. The second one is Bhishma. For his righteousness, for his dharma. He stood against dharma, so he had to perish. That's a different story. But he knew what he was exactly doing. For his Dhridavrata, he was very, very deep. The third one is Bhima. He knew exactly what to do at what point. He was forced, as we just saw, that he had the free will, but he did not exercise it because he had to go for everything, all acceptance and everything had to be given by Yudhishthira. So in fact, that is the statement which Draupadi makes in the end, towards the end of the whole thing, when they're going towards the Prastha. She says that, I really would love to have all of you as my husbands again in the next Janma. But only difference is I want Bhima to be the elder one and Yudhishthira to be the younger one. That's the only thing. She never said, I don't want any of this. That's why Draupadi is very celebrated in our whole this one.
No, and that too, Yudhishthira Mohodaya, when she falls on that way to this thing, he says that because you loved Arjuna more, that is your crime. I mean,
See, it
what?
is.
Like, frankly,
No.
Yudhishthira's character is overhyped. I feel the worst actually about this character.
I wouldn't go to that. I wouldn't be so harsh on it. See, Yudhishthira is Thira. His problem is he's absolutely, very pinpointedly, he looks at things. He does not have a big picture view.
No, but like everything that he does, like pawning his own brothers, his wife, etc., etc., where does his Thira Buddhi bring him, na?
That's what I'm
He
saying.
ends
No,
up doing the worst crimes, literally,
no,
like,
not quite. That's where he's doing absolute right thing at the micro. He's a micromanager. He's a micromanager of everything. So that's a challenge. So that is where even in the Hatakunjaraha, even in the end fight when it comes to that killing Ashwatthama and all that, that's where he gives up. No, absolute truth. I'll always keep speaking the truth, no matter what. I don't want to face the consequences of it. So when he says that, she fell down because she loved Arjuna more, which is not, it is technically not a false statement. She did like Arjuna more.
no, so that was not a crime, na? Because he won her fair and square in this thing.
He married.
So
He
he
married
was
him.
technically, he was meant to be her husband. So why not?
So frankly, that's a matter of fact statement there. So Yudhishthira always believed in the matter of fact statement, which was I wouldn't say I would say that he was a fool.
So his moment of glory, Mohdaya, was the whole question answer with the Yaksha. That was beautiful. But aside from that, I only see like ignominy a bit more than all the great things that are happening.
Yeah, that's how the
He has
character
just
is.
brains, but no emotional quotient.
That's what. That is playbook. That is the textbook dharma, following textbook dharma. So that is where Vidura is more celebrated.
Yes.
Vidura was also son of Dharma, son of Yama. So he had to be he is very shrewdly celebrated. In fact, if you look at the entire Mahabharata war, it's only Vidura who does not fight the war. Do you know, anybody knows why?
He walks away for
Yeah, but why? Why is he given that option of walking away?
Because that Duryodhana is insulting him and says that you are a servant's child and you don't have the right to say anything here.
Correct. So he could have as well joined Arjuna, no? In which case he could have joined the Krishna side, no? Why did he not do that? Why did Krishna let him off? He brought everyone to the battlefield. Krishna brought everyone to the battlefield and made sure Dharma, exactly all those with Dharma were on one side, all those against Dharma were on the other side. Why was Vidura let off?
When
Draupadi is being insulted in the court, Vidura will protest. He's the only one who will speak against, and then he walks off because nobody is they are taking the place of supporting Dharma.
He is the only one in the entire court during that Vakraharana who takes a stance for Draupadi and says, this shall not happen in my presence. Duryodhana throws him out of the court.
But that throwing out happened at later stage, no? It was when he's telling that your son is not a good person. He's actually going to Kulan Ashram, he is going to do for you. So you should actually not allow him to do that. So at that time, isn't it that Duryodhana is asking Vidura to get out of the place?
No, there are two instances. What you are telling is about when Krishna comes as a Duta and then Vidura, he stays at Vidura's house and then finally that Vidura is there and then Duryodhana is actually abusing him and then he says, no. Krishna says, look, Duryodhana, if he's not there, then probably he'll not fight the war for you, so don't shout. So still Duryodhana goes on and then he says, I'll not fight. But during the Draupadi's Vastraharana, he stands up and says, Bhishma does not stand up, Drona does not stand up, Dhritarashtra does not stand up.
Bhishma says that I am indebted to the throne, so I can't open my mouth.
He had his own compulsion. He had his own compulsion to do whatever. All of them said they have their own compulsion. But the big picture was seen only by Vidura. who said nothing doing. This shall not happen in my presence. So he just, again, Duryodhana abuses him and throws him out because he does not have any much say in the whole thing. So he is out. That is the only reason why Krishna lets off Vidura from the battle. In fact, he's given this one of an Avduta at the end of it. Krishna himself does this one. Whereas everybody else, including Krishna himself, came to the war.
Mahodaya, one thing, looking at both the epics then, like, like Sita in Ramayana and Draupadi in this one, Mahabharata. So, like, some of the derogatory things that are said about women, like Draupadi is referred to as Kulanashini, right? It's by some of the people. So, what is the reason
Who is
then that
referring to
No.
in
Kulanashini or Draupadi, she is referred to in many places. So, no, what I mean is, the nimitta of the war or whatever is always woman only.
Yeah,
Like,
women are causing trouble.
that is, I don't think that is the way it's been. I think that's a very wrong way of putting it out. That is not the way it is to be seen. That's why I asked for the reference for this Kulanashini. Nowhere in Vyasa
it is there. Okay, I will find it. I will find and show you.
Yeah,
But it is definitely there. So I read like a Bengali translation of a Mahabharata. So that is like, it is by a man called Kali Kinkar Prasad. So that is it's a translation. So it's a I'll find the reference, but definitely she is referred to as Kulanashini in certain places.
Definitely
Not
not
in the specific Mahabharata itself, but as an interpretation that she caused the destruction of both the clans.
That is not true. If at all anyone, Duryodhana
That's
is
Duryodhana who is the destruction of the.
No, but like you yourself said right now, right? It was the Draupadi Vastraharana which led to the war. So that is, I mean, that is definitely even in the serials, etc. You see, it's the Vastraharana episode. Although, of course, I guess there are many other long-standing, various things. That was the trigger point which led to the actual thing.
No, it was not the trigger point. It was not the trigger point. It was the only point. In Ramayana also, Sita Harana was the only point. Okay.
Till then he was being excused.
So that is where the Maryada of a Stree is extremely important in our culture. If anything goes wrong with the Kula Stree, that is to be taken very seriously and avenged then and there, no matter what it costs. Okay, so that is the way it is to be seen. If anybody is portraying it as a Kulanashini, anybody is portraying it as a negative, this one, that has to be challenged and that has to be brought up. I don't see that as any this one at all. At least in Vyasa Bharata or in Jaimini Bharata, these are the two, or even in Kumar Vyasa Bharata, which is the Kannada version of it, I haven't seen anywhere Draupadi being referred to in any derogatory form in any which ways.
Yeah. Definitely there. I will find the thing. But the thing is, what you said is right, that Maryada of a Stree is like, where that is being harmed, then that leads to a Dharma Yuddha.
Against starvation.
So, but like, it's still from the modern context, then what is the interpretation? Because here, the status of women in society has changed, right? So to have that interpretation,
so the question
how do we modernize that just that kind of that Maryada of Stree being this thing, so then that will lead to Dharma Yuddha.
So Maryada of Stree is defined by the Stree herself. It is not defined by anybody else. Okay. So let's be very clear about it. It is not defined by some random person on the state of what Stree Dharma is. Stree Dharma is defined by Stree. Okay. And that, if you see the entire Ramayana, there also you'll see Ahalya telling Sita about what Stree Dharma is. It is not about some random guru sitting in some random forest telling what the Stree should do. Nowhere is it coming out that way. Absolutely clear. If you are equating financial independence to Stree, this one, I'm sorry, probably we have got the context very wrong. Okay. Independence is very different from Dharma. Dharma never speaks about independence. Dharma speaks about duties. There is a duty for Purusha, there is a duty for Stree. Okay. Now, how that is defined in different contexts is very different. For that, I would refer you to a book by Swami Raghunathanandaji, Eternal Values of a Changing Society.
Okay.
Okay. Now, wearing clothes is important. Now, whether you wear as a sleeveless cloth, whether you wear as very nice cloth, how you wear is a different story. The eternal value is to wear clothes. The what form and shape that cloth takes is different over time. There are certain eternal values. There are certain boundaries within which it can act on. Okay. Now, how that acts in the modern day world, have we fully understood those eternal values before we comment on something that is to be fully taken into account before we get there? Yeah. So anywhere it comes to Sri Dharma, it is defined by this three. It is not defined by some somebody sitting on a top altar and saying, this shall be so and so and so and so and so. Doesn't happen that way. Shakti is Shakti. In our case, Shakti is which is the primordial force of that stream which comes out and defines what it needs to be done. Yes, Nisha Mode, you can add to this point.
I wanted to tell about Draupadi, and she is misrepresented, absolutely misrepresented in the Mahabharata that we see on TV and what most people know about her. She is actually very pious. In fact, she manages all her 5 husbands in such a beautiful way. In the, it is written that Satyabhama comes and asks Draupadi, how do you manage so nicely with all your husbands, and your mother-in-law is so happy with you? How do you manage to keep everybody happy? Satyabhama is asking, how do you keep your husband so happy? She is so skillful. She knows about all the 5 husbands, their likes and dislikes, what her mother-in-law wants from her. In the morning, she will make all arrangements for her puja, and she has all her Guptachar dasis in the kingdom. So they will tell her about anything that is going to happen. She gives this information to her respective husbands, beforehand, so that she helps in the administration. So there are many things that are written. She has never said andhe ka beta andha and all those things that we know.
Yes, but she just laughs. That's all.
She doesn't say anything. She doesn't say anything like that. So there is this Bori Institute, if you know, in Nagpur, Bhandarkar Oriental Research. They have a course on Mahabharata. You can read that, and there are lectures on Mahabharata. So actually, she is very nice. She is that shloka also. Yeah, so I don't know the reference, but what you are reading, but she is not the way she is portrayed actually. In fact, this Karna and Duryodhana, these are the two. Karna, everybody thinks is very nice, but actually he is not. He is not like that. He is a vicious. Anyway, so this is what I just wanted to add on for the Mahabharata part. Yeah, rest what. Karthik sir told about the book, that was very nice. Even I would like to read that. So yeah.
I thought Karna was the person.
No, he was the.
Okay, let me add to that. Let me just clarify this. So Draupadi, so one thing about that, women did not have financial independence in the past is a misnomer completely. Let me be very clear, as Disha Modaya clearly said, Draupadi was fully having a set of spies who would go around and find out what was happening in the entire kingdom. She was empowered with a lot of things. Forget Draupadi, Kaushalya. I think I pointed out early on in the lectures as well. When Rama goes and tells Kaushalya that this is what I need to go to the forest, so on and so forth, the question that Rama asks is, should I make arrangement for you to be safe if Bharata takes over? Because at that point, they don't know what is going to happen. Okay. So if Bharata takes over, if he throws you out of the kingdom and all those things, you know what Kaushalya replies to that? She says, I don't need to worry about it. I have 1,000 villages just outside of Ayodhya which I govern. And that is given to her by her father.
Strita.
That 1000 village people, which is under her direct command. I just tell they will come and take care of me even before anybody tries any nonsense. There were enough balancing forces to keep everything under check, enough checks and balances. Okay, so there is enough references around in the Mula Bharata, Mula Ramayana itself for all these things. I do not know because I have not seen neither. I was too young when Ramayana came as Ramanand Sagar, and then the second time I was too busy doing something else. I was busy with oxygen concentrators, so I have not seen both of that. So I do not know how it is portrayed there. So I do not want to comment on how they have done it. But if there is anywhere that you think that Draupadi is mentioned as a Kulanashini, please point it out. I would like to see that and probably tell what is going on there. But that's an interesting thing because I have never heard Draupadi being referred to as Kulanashini. She would not be. Okay. The whole clan had to be destroyed, and it is absolutely right that the entire Kauravas and the entire Pandavas were destroyed, apart from the 5 brothers, including Abhimanyu, who was Krishna's nephew. Okay, only Abhimanyu's son survives. If you look at the entire thing, only Parikshita survives. That too because Krishna wants him to survive. Right. So that is how it is. Even with Sita, it is very clear as to how it goes. There is a reason why there is such a strong bondage even to this day with Chhattisgarh doing so many things and people thinking that, it is Kaushalya's home, Sri Rama's maternal grandparents' house. So we need to do this. Why Janaka? Why so much from Janakpuri of Nepal and all is happening? It is not without reason that these things are happening. There is a strong bondage there. And if there is anything misrepresented, it's quite possible. I know the kind of distortions that have happened all around. If there is anything that needs to be corrected, probably I can guide you on the path. Yes, there are certain things that are not right. It's not like we are totally, absolutely right and everything is good. There are mistakes in our society also, and we need to accept that. It is not like there is everything is absolutely right and everything is beautiful and we are all living. But every society has that. We'll correct it in due course and take it up the way it needs to be taken. So that is where I would like to put it out. Any other point, Chaita Mahodaya?
No, nothing else, Mahodaya. No, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Actually, this term I have even heard my mother say that some reference from somewhere. See, these are all interpretations because technically, like you said, I mean, if you just look at a fact, then she was the trigger for the war and the clan did perish. So from that point of view, you can technically call it that. So, but that is not to say that she was an evil person or she was a bad person, etc.
I'll give you another example. I'll give you another example from Ramayana itself. Have you all heard this statement? देश को विभीषणों से बचाना चाहिए. Right?
घर का भेदी विभीषण, right? घर का भेदी they call it.
घर का भेदी विभीषण. Now, what do you put that? Where do you classify Vibhishan then? Is it because Vibhishan is bad, or is it because that is it referred as a very wrong way? Is it something that we have developed over time? Right. So these are things that we need to be a little careful while we are using. So similarly, I'm sure there will be somebody who would have used it and somewhere it has come through as Kulanashini and all that, which I wouldn't dispute. Okay, so when we are reading it, that's why we keep going back to the original text and keep seeing it. So there are things that people did suffer, people did go through, and as you rightly said, Yudhishthira's comment that she loved Arjuna more, so it happened. Contextually, if you take it, it will not mean anything. But out of context, when you take it out and blow it out of proportion and keep harping on it over time, it becomes a big challenge.
Also, the translations are based also on the person's point of view is also added in it, right? And most in the translations.
Not all. Some of them are okay, I think. But yeah,
from the story. The colloquial translations are much more preferable to English translation. That is for sure, especially the traditional ones. They will always be more accurate to the sentiment, at least, if not
Yeah, the sentiments are maintained.
They will definitely. Mahoday, actually, what I did want to ask you is the Bali episode in
Coming to that,
Ramayana.
we'll
You know
discuss
that
Bali.
where he kills him. That
Yes.
is the one which never made like sense to me because Rama
Yes,
is the
we'll discuss
person.
Bali. We'll discuss Bali completely.
Okay.
Again, there also it's only because of Tara. Let's be very clear. There also it is only because of he abducts Sugriva's wife. Okay.
And he asks also, even I am not your enemy, why did you kill me? He'll ask Rama.
Yeah, he asks that. There is a very clear explanation which Rama himself gives.
Yes,
No,
he
but
says
Tara was Bali's wife, I thought first. I'm not. I thought she was. Yeah, and then when he dies, she's given to this one, right?
Yeah,
no.
Ruma is the wife of Sugriva. So Tara meant Ruma, but
Ruma.
Oh, Ruma.
Ruma. Not Tara. Ruma. You're right. So he kidnaps her. Vali kidnaps her and takes her away. So otherwise everything was okay. So that is where, yes, we'll discuss this point also. That's why I brought about this Daivi Sampat and Asuri Sampat. Now you understand why Daivi Sampat and Asuri Sampat are important. The bhava behind doing some act. How, to what extent are you going? Are you going to go about, say, Draupadi, and then you somebody who is not able to take care of herself, and then you pull her to the court and do all these things just because somebody ordered it? Are you going to go that far, or are you going to stop somewhere? And that's why it's not like Yudhishthira and his family did not suffer. No, they also had to go through. They lost all their children. They lost pretty much everyone and anyone. So they had to go through that. It is not like everybody was okay. So yes, Parvati Modaya.
So could you say poor Duryodhana, because of his bad karma, he did those bad actions?
Not quite. He had the option of choosing right also, no?
But his basic instincts, like you said,
his basic instincts were, see, it was the two things. Actually, he was by nature a bad person, just like Ravana. Yeah. By nature, he was a bad person. It was aggravated by the fact that there was so much of Pitra Moha in
the father.
His father, Dhritarashtra. To the extent that he was ready to kill Bhima for it.
But then Duryodhana himself says, I know what I am doing is wrong, but I am not able to stop myself in doing it.
Yes, Kama Esha, Krodha Esha.
He says.
It is there. So, answers are clear. Just that we need to see it. Okay, so we are clear on this. Any doubts on this? This is where I think if we know this.
If the end is right and the means is wrong, it is acceptable.
Then it depends on what is dharma, no? To what extent? It's like, treating cancer. Whether you need radiation therapy is going to kill other cells as well. You're going to become very weak. Now, whether it is worth doing that, or it is better to take a palliative care and then die peacefully. That's the trade-off you need to make. That's where dharma gets into very strong play here. Yes, Parvati Madhya.
So, if the end means, the end is you achieve dharma at the end, so the wrong means is also not so bad, or.
So it's a conundrum. You can't always say it is right or wrong. Sometimes you may want to choose the means, but leave it as is. You may not want to do it. There are situations, like say for instance, if a person is suffering very badly, and then you just wish that person dies, but his karmas are not over. What do? You just you may want to kill him, but at the end of it, you cannot do that. So that's a conundrum, no? There are situations. There are things that these things throw up every now and then. So there are wrong euthanasia. You can maybe induce on a certain case. It may be okay on a certain case. It may not be okay on a certain case.
And there's also that even though you start something which is right, it can also end up on the other side.
Yeah, very much. So you need to be absolutely clear. That's where you need the clarity of Krishna. If you have the clarity of Krishna, what needs to be attained, yes, then you can choose the paths that you want. Yes, Parvati Modi.
So how do I decide that the end was right? Now I'm giving you a real life example. Very good friend. Her husband's having an affair. She doesn't know, but somebody tells me. Do I tell her? Don't I tell her? Spent sleepless nights. Finally, I said, okay, if it was me, I would want to know. So I went and told her. So did I do the right thing? Did I do the wrong thing? I mean, all the time in life, you come across this, what is right, what is wrong.
Absolutely.
And then you just take a call. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And how do I know if my intention was good, but I don't know if the end, the end was also good. Yeah. He fell in line. So
there you go.
This I was also thinking
but
exactly
it could have gone either way, right? Yeah. So that was my thing.
So I'll give a little different answer to this. See, that's where our shastras are very clear that dharma is not something in your intelligence. It is not an intellect. It's in your mind. There's a difference between the mind and the intellect. Intuitively, what you feel right, what common sense tells you is the right thing to do, is usually on the dharmic path. What we do is we overthink a lot of things, especially given our intelligent faculty, which we have become very, very intelligent over time and biased. I'll give you where that Shastra comes as well. It's very much in the Manomaya Kosha of Taittiriya Upanishad. Yajure Vashiraha Ragdakshinah Pakshaha Samotarah Pakshaha Adesha Atma Atharvangirasa Pricham Pratishtha. That Adesha coming from these Vedas is the Atman for the Manomaya Kosha. Now the same thing in the Vijnanamaya Kosha, which is your Buddhi and the intellect, is very different. There it is not these, that's why Vedas are not something as an intellect capacity. If you by heart the Vedas as an intellect capacity, as Jaimini Maharshi beautifully said, it's like carrying a huge Himalayan mountain on your head without knowing what to do. Vijnanamaya Kosha says something totally different. It says Shraddhai Vashiraha Rutottara Pakshaha Satyottara Pakshaha Ruto Dakshina Pakshaha. Okay. Then Mahapucham Pratishtha. What is that? Yoga Atma. Disciplined life is the way of an intellect. Right? So if you want to know dharma, it is in the commonsensical realm.
But then it is always said that the buddhi always gives you the way, and its mind,
yes.
which is
yes, absolutely. The right and the wrong is decided by the buddhi. So mind will give you both the options. As Parvati Mahodaya just said, tell it, not tell it, tell it, not tell it. Right? So in this, the buddhi will probably give you intuitively, this is the right thing. Where we end up is, we interchange the manas and the buddhi. We mix things up, get into emotional problems with it.
So the intuition is actually from the buddhi.
Exactly. Intuition is actually from the buddhi, but the intuition that is coming is because of certain things, the way we have trained our mind.
Because, as children, when we bring up our children, we always say, when they ask something, you ask for yourself. You ask yourself,
exactly.
Then it will give you the answer. We say
exactly. That. Exactly. That's commonsensical. So your heart should agree to it. We say our heart should agree to it. We don't say our intelligence should agree to it.
That's what I'm saying. So we say, the God is inside you, and He will tell you what is right. So you just ask yourself. That's what we say.
Correct. Correct.
So there we call the mind, which is one which is giving you the intuition.
It is a mana. See, there are two things. When I say buddhi, you should also take it more as a chitta.
Chitta.
There is a difference between chitta and buddhi. Buddhi is what we have learned over time here. Chitta is something that is the storehouse over all the so many things. That is what drives the mind in a lot of ways.
Chitta is the storehouse and mind, buddhi is the collection of the information which you are getting.
Current information. You take it as RAM and ROM. No, I mean, I don't know if you people know RAM and ROM. It is basically random access memory. Currently, what is there? That is your buddhi. Fast processing. Chitta is the ROM, long term this one. Yes, Parvati Madhya, he was saying something.
So, but in the Bhagavad Gita, one of the chapters I read, so where Krishna says, do only your dharma.
Swadharma.
Don't do Swadharma.
So now, he doesn't say do only your karma. He says do
dharma. Yeah, your dharma. So then, was it my job to inform her about that?
So he says,
retrospectively.
So 1 minute. It says do Swadharma. Now, Swadharma, he says Swadharma is above Paradharma. He does not say don't do Paradharma. He says give importance to Swadharma.
Yeah. No, I think he also said don't get involved in what is not your dharma. If
Swadharma there is defined as not for everything, right? I mean, Swadharma is the definition of Swadharma in Bhagavad Gita is different, right?
Swadharma is the guna and karma. So basically, let us say, for instance, you are born in a particular family, you have certain duties.
And he was telling Arjuna, do your duty. As a warrior,
as a Kshatriya, as a warrior, you need to do your duty. Right. Similarly, you have certain roles and responsibilities in your society, in your family, in your this work. Correct? You need to perform them. That is your Swadharma. Okay. Now, when do you say you will not perform? When does the conflict of Paradharma and Swadharma come in? When you are supposed to do the Swadharma, but your Paradharma is asking you to do something else. In your case, that conflict never arose. Right? In the case of Arjuna, he was saying, I want to become sannyasi. When he was supposed to fight the war. So there is that no Swadharma.
So that was my dharma as a friend.
So, there is dharma as a friend, which need not be Swadharma. It is dharma. That could be Samanya dharma. Right? So, I mean, don't try to justify anything. You went to institution and it worked.
It's done. It's done.
That's it. So everyone has a karmic baggage and it goes on. So karma is very clear. Even Rama, for killing Tadaka, he had to go through certain things. Krishna, for having done whatever, he has to face the wrath of Gandhari, get the curse and then suffer that. So that is non-negotiable. Absolutely clear about it. Okay. Cool. Great. It's a very good discussion. We can go on and on and on about it, but we cannot complete our Ramayana that we took up as this one. Today we're already done. I was thinking of doing about 10 shlokas and do the Sita Aparana today, but that's okay. Good discussion. So we'll do it next week. We'll do the Sita Aparana and see even if we can introduce ourselves to the best diplomat in so far in this one, Hanuman. Okay. So I think with that we can close for today. Any other questions? Anything?
The best diplomat would have been Hanuman or Krishna.
Best?
The best diplomat would be Krishna or Hanuman.
Not Arjuna. Definitely not Arjuna.
Hanuman
and Krishna. Both of them are diplomats.
I thought Hanuman was the best ambassador.
Yeah, he was the best ambassador. That's the diplomat, no? That's the role of a diplomat. So the thing is that Krishna definitely, but Krishna, given he was a Purna Avatara, he would discount Krishna to some extent. But Krishna definitely he knew everything, anything and everything. What was it that Krishna did not know?
As a diplomat, I thought, as a diplomat, he is the right example for a diplomat.
Yeah, he as well as Hanuman. In a human realm, probably you'll look at Hanuman more because he knows what he's doing. Following Krishna is difficult in a lot of ways. He has a lot of things under which he takes up. Yes, Gauri Mahadaya.
Mahadaya, you showed us the table, right, Mahadaya? About that, I have a question. So we have got some set of rules, guna, characters, attitude, situation. Okay. So leave alone the war, rape kind of big situations, okay, where you can sit, discuss, take a decision, think about right or wrong. In modern day setup, we get 5 seconds to, maximum 1 minute to think about whether it's dharma, adharma, right, wrong, and the stable, and decide. You think this is fair for us and for the karma? Seriously?
So, okay, I'll answer that question differently. We have moved to a very fast regime where we need not have moved. So that's where the question of kama esha krodha esha comes in. Okay, before that's where I said there are a lot of situations where you see we make what lingers on in our minds are the wrong decisions that we have made. What doesn't linger on is where we have been empowered to make a right decision. If you think back, if you go back a little in your free time and think, what are all the things that have gone right? And say, how did I make that decision? You'll find that you have made it through the same intuition which you are making the wrong decision. Correct? So that is an inherent characteristic thing that we have. So if you analyze it fully, you will see that it will be a 50-50 chance that you make the right or the wrong decision. Okay. So Krishna is absolutely clear. Don't worry. Sukha and Dukkha are part of the same coin. It's one side is Sukha, the other side is Dukkha. So don't even think whether you are doing it right, doing it wrong, what you are doing. Make sure when you are making the decision, you have empowered yourself about the Shastras. That will enable you to do a lot of things.
So even then, that's what he says. Whether you do it wrongly, do your swadharma, because that is always better than doing paradharma, somebody else's dharma, even though you're doing it very well.
So here he says, that last sloka, give up those three. Krodha, lobha, kama, krodha, lobha. Now, kama, krodha, lobha is not, which is against dharma. Kama, which is against dharma. That something that does not belong to me, I want it. That is the wrong karma that you have. Krodha, that is basically I get angry because I did not get something. That was originally did not belong to me. So, but now I'm angry because it is not mine. Or I'm comparing myself, that person got it. How can that person get it when I deserve more than that person? That is the lobha part. So these are the three things that drives us to do something of this nature. The moment we start training to give these things up, that's where our whole attitude towards some problem changes altogether. And that in a lot of ways empowers us to make decisions. Right, wrong, what the ends are is as we said, there are 5 factors. Yes. Any other questions? We have already, it's 8:40.
No, Maudya, when you say this, see, rightly, wrongly, we say like, why that person got it, in comparison, I didn't get it. But my thinking started, what made me to this, say, for example, I've come, like early in life, we came in contact with good people, Satsanga, Lalita Sasnam and all that, okay? When I see a beggar or, like somebody, like really poor or, whatever, so I said, like, why that person is like that and why I'm not like that, okay? So when I was talking to one of my friends, she said, that's also wrong thinking. Yeah. You're not supposed to feel, pity for that person, she said.
Yeah. Absolutely. See, you should not feel pity for the person. If you can, help the person.
Uplift him.
You'll always have people who are better than you. You'll always have people who are worse than you. Okay. How do you look at them? Can you have a samatva bhava to look at both of them? Can you try and help them without feeling pity for them or, oh, okay, he is there. Okay, I need to give it. Without that bhava of, I need to do it. If you can do that, nothing like it. That is the state that we need to get to, no? So if we can move towards that, that is the kind of lobha that is trying to give up. Both ends are wrong. One, you're feeling, see, it comes because you're feeling that this person is below me, he's inferior to me, you're feeling somebody is superior to you. The moment you give up this inferiority, you'll give up that superiority also. It's a simple equation, no? So, okay. With this, I think we'll close for today. Next week, we'll do the Sita Apaharana and then get to Hanuman.
Vedanta, then Vedanta.
Okay, I'll just finish the Mangalam. Then if you have any questions, you can ask. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhyo Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshita Parjanyaha Prithivi Satsishalini Deshoyam Shobharahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Aputra Putrinas Santu Pautrinaha Adanath Sadanath Santu Jivantu Shardam Shratam Shunvan Ramayanam Bhaktya Sayati Parameva Padameva Va Sayati Brahmanasthanam Brahmana Pujyate Sada Hari